Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Being Human podcast, my YouTube channel, Scott St. Marie. Went to see Lord of the Rings last night, Return of the King. This isn't just a dumb listen to my life. This is going to be part of the story, and it's going to be a great lesson. And you're going to love this video because all of you are going to be able to relate, and you're going to be like, holy shit, Scott, you know me. All right. I went to see Lord of the Rings, extended edition, garbage. 4 hours and 20 minutes, and it was in the movie theater. Now check this out. Haven't seen the trilogy in like 5 years. 2020 to 2023 wasn't the best time for Scott. So I decided to go for it. Last week, Fellowship of the Ring, a few days before, Two Towers. And then randomly, I'm just like, let's see what's playing in theaters. I just want to go see a movie on my own, just chill. And what do you know? For one day, Return of the King, they're playing in the movie theater. I'm like, what are the chances? Oh my gosh. So went there last night and got a bag of popcorn, and corn makes me feel like garbage, and I feel puffy and stuffed up and tired, but it was worth it. 4 hours and 20 minutes. People had their phones out in the theater, so I punched a few people in the shoulder. I went psst to another dude. Just so disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? And we have a serious problem with phone addiction. A global problem. Like, this is insane. Why aren't we talking about this every single day? People's minds being warped and turned into mush and completely dependent on this device. It blows my mind. And I'm not perfect either. Sometimes I'll be at a stoplight, walking, crossing the road, and I'll take it out. What am I doing? Oh my God. That's a different story. So watching Lord of the Rings, and at the end, Frodo's like, how do you, he's 13 months to the day, since they set out on this journey. He's back to the Shire. He saved the Shire, and he's in Bag End, and he's like, how the heck do you pick up the pieces of the past and start a new life? And then you begin to understand that there is no going back. Oh, there's no going back. Imagine to carry all of what happened. And this is the same in the movie Castaway. You're carrying everything that's happened to you in the past and bringing it to a somewhat familiar place, too. While everything around you has stayed the same. There's still the Proudfoot guy. There's still the people drinking beer in the bar and the big pumpkin. They got, like, the Shire's the same. But they've all come back with something inside of them. You can't tell from the outside what happened to these guys, what happened to these hobbits. It's just, oh yeah, we were gone for a year, we're back. No, they're different people. Something has changed inside them drastically. And just like Tom Hanks, too, in Castaway, he comes back and, what, FedEx is still a thing? There's ice in my glass? There's, crab legs just, by the pound? And you take back what you've been through. And a lot of us live multiple lives. And I've told you this lyric before by Bruce Cockburn. Sometimes you feel like you lived too long. Days drip slowly on the page. And you catch yourself pacing the cage. Some of you think and feel that you've lived multiple lives. And the life that you had before today, sometimes you want to go back to. A life before the illness. A life before the diagnosis. A life before the loss of a loved one. A life before you knew what you know now. We want to go back to simpler times when things made more sense, when there were less questions and more answers, when we felt a sense of maybe security, a sense of safety, a sense of certainty. We want to go back to that life so badly that sometimes we do anything in the present moment for it to stay the same. So we don't take a lot of risks. We don't get out there for an adventure. And we kind of live trying to mimic that sense of safety. And I don't blame a single human being for doing that. Not at all. But what do you do when that past life you want to get back to, but now realizing and fully admitting that there is no going back and there is no way you can replicate it 100%, not even close? Remember, Frodo, Sam, Tom Hanks, you can come back. You can wear the same t-shirt. You can wear the same shoes. You can go back to the exact same place. But just because everything else has stayed the same in the physical world, you have changed. There is no going back because you are a different person. And there's good news. That there is no going back. And then let's quote another movie, Morpheus from The Matrix. If you could go back, would you really want to? Did something along the way between that life that you had and the life you're living now, did something along the way change you for the better? And of course it did. And the good news is, how do you pick up the pieces of the past and bring them to the present? Well, the good thing is, you can pick up the pieces that you want to pick up. You know, if you break a bowl or break I don't know, some piece of art, I don't know, and you really didn't like some part of it, you can pick up the certain pieces you want and you make a new piece for today. You don't have to pick up all the pieces. You take up what's useful to you, what's going to help you today, what you liked about the past, and bring those gold nuggets into today and make a new piece of art. That's the new you. Now, this isn't about letting go and leaving things in the past. Of course not. It's always going to still be here. Like, man, you can't forget things. Forgive and forget. You remember everything, man. You remember so much. You remember the pain you've been through. You remember good memories, bad memories. You remember it all. But what do you want to use today? What do you want to use? It's one thing to remember. The past is here. It feels like it's happening, traumatic things. But what do you want to use from the past? What do you want to use that for? And before you act right away and react, you respond to something first and you say, okay, I've been through some difficult things. And what if along the way, I gained such a deep sense of empathy, because you did. You gained a sense of understanding. Remember, we talked about living out your questions and not just seeking an answer, but the answer will come as you continue to live. So the curiosity that you have and the unanswered questions actually bring you more adventure. You see things differently, but I think you can agree that life is very rich. When you have those previous lifetimes, sometimes where you want to go back and you went through some really difficult things, the world is richer. And rich means when you get a rich piece of cheesecake. Cheesecake is rich. You can only have so much of it. But that one forkful is enough to satisfy. It's enough. So when you look around, you sense the fragility of humankind. You sense the sensitivity of the human spirit. Along that same spectrum, you can see the strength of the human spirit, the strength within yourself. And that's all because that moment you seemingly want to go back to, that's your first thought. And then do this little thought experiment and see where you end up. But what have I gained along the way? And what pieces of gold do I want to take from those past experiences and that past life and bring it to today? So the way I'm doing that, as just an example here, is I'm here talking about this stuff to you. And that's one way I put meaning into that suffering. And I love doing this, and it's helpful to me. It's helpful to many online. I then speak in public. And I go to businesses and speak about mindfulness, and I talk to kids about phone addiction and giving them these kinds of thoughts experiments as to, what are you looking for in that phone? What are you looking for within yourself? Can you notice what you're doing in the moment, and is it useful to you? And same goes for you. Is this useful to you to constantly wish you were back in that moment? Or can you just bring what was so good in that moment, in that past life, and bring it to today? And then you're the richest person on earth. I'm using my experiences to hopefully help people make the world a better, more loving place, decrease stigma around mental illness. And I'm doing my master's of neuroscience to understand biological and psychological factors that come into that, which decrease stigma even more. That's what this is all about. And so that's how I'm doing it. Is it perfect? No. Do I wish sometimes the diagnosis and all of this didn't happen? Of course I do. We all wish things didn't happen. We all do. But beside that wish is an acceptance too that we can access, that it happened. Now use it. 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 For the better. Use it. Use it for yourself, man. Use it as a thanks to yourself. Notice how using and working through suffering, and that is a compliment to you, where you're just not throwing it in a waste bin. Why would I say waste bin? I've never said waste bin before. Garbage. Waste bin. Use it. Don't just throw it away. You don't have to go back to the past to experience it. Bring it back here, all right? Now, a few announcements which you love at the end. Remember we did that experiment where I asked people to say chicken and beef cutlets if they made it to the end of the episode, and a lot of you did. This is my chance at the end to always say thank you to you who turn on your notifications. You bring me into your routine during the week. That is so cool. You bring me into your routine, and you bring me into your routine, and I bring you into mine, because I'm doing this every Monday. And I appreciate your ears. I appreciate that you're getting something out of this. And thank yourself for doing these kinds of thought experiments and seeing if it works for you. I love looking at things a different way. I have to, because my mind immediately skews to the negative. So I'm like, oh shit, please tell me there's a different way to look at this thing. So I love sharing these things with you and just what happens on the day to day. It was a great night last night. Yeah, that popcorn, never again. Oh my God. So for all of you who stuck by, thank you. If you haven't, become a free member on Patreon. It's free. I'm sending an email out probably tomorrow for all free members. So you'll get an email in your inbox about a private Zoom call. We won't do a live Q&A on YouTube. I think I'm going to do a Zoom call so I can see your faces and you can see mine and we can chat and I can hear your voice rather than YouTube Q&A is just the chat. I think that'd be pretty cool. So I'm going to do a poll to see who would actually show up. So please sign up for patreon.com/Scott Ste. Marie. The link's in the description. I'm also putting all the coaching links in the description if you want to chat with me one-on-one to apply. I'm putting in the 8-week course link in there. And I'm also putting in the BetterHelp link because people watching this stuff are struggling deeply. And my question is, in softness and gentleness, what stopped you from getting help? What has stopped you? What's stopping you? Because YouTube videos aren't enough. They're not enough. Even from psychiatrists and psychologists, I watched all the videos, but I still needed a one-on-one, someone to know me, to communicate with me, to listen to me. This is a one-way street on YouTube, unfortunately, but to seek help and to get someone to really become a guide and someone to walk with you, that's really important. So I can be that as your coach, or there's a link to BetterHelp for affordable therapy in the description as well. Thank you all so much. God bless you. Use it. Use it. And I'll see you next week. Can't wait to see your comments. Bye-bye.